Thank you very much, Mrs Jardine, and thanks to my right honourable friend, the member for Stone, Great Wireley and Pendrich, for bringing forward this important debate and for the contributions from, I would say, across the House, but we have one main party who have failed to show up for this important debate. And high street businesses aren't just the shops, apart from the Minister, of course, and the people. Shops, restaurants, the pubs or the banks or other firms. They represent jobs, they represent investment, but above all, they represent identity and a sense of place. And business rates have long been a source of concern for retail firms, and that's inherent in their nature as a fixed cost. It doesn't flex to profitability, to business cycles, to sales. My honourable friend, who will be right honourable one day, I'm sure, for South West Hertfordshire, spoke of his direct experience as a retailer. So there is a case for reform, but as with everything, and particularly with this topic, the devil is always in the detail. And the action the government has chosen to take means shops and others will pay higher bills this year, and that comes with consequences which honourable members have set out in their own constituencies. And when we were in government, we understood the value of our high streets, which is why we doubled the small business rates relief to £15,000 and almost trebled higher rate relief to £51,000, which took a third of properties out of business rates completely. And we provided long-term support through things like the Towns Fund and the long-term plan for towns, which Kings Lynn and my North West Norfolk constituency is benefiting from, and it's making a difference. Of course, in 2021, retail relief was set at 100% to reflect the realities and the extraordinary pressures of the COVID restrictions. In 2022, the retail, hospitality and leisure properties were eligible for 50% discount. That was increased in 2023 to 75%. A tax cut worth £2.4 billion, which was then extended to 2024. As my honourable friend rightly said, that was to help the retail, hospitality and leisure sectors adjust and continue to recover. That approach is a far cry from the 40% discount the government is offering now, almost doubling bills. And the Exchequer Secretary, talked up by my right honourable friend, and if he has his backing, he's sure to go far, is the Exchequer Secretary is a consistent man, so he will likely claim in his remarks that there was no plans to extend this 75% relief into the future. But if you look at our track record, we consistently provided relief and backed our high streets, and we would have continued to do so, and I and my honourable friends would have made sure that that was absolutely the case. And the government's decision to cut relief from 75% to 40% will leave many high street businesses facing increased costs. Some 250,000 businesses will be worse off to the tune of £925 million. According to the British Independent Retailers Association, a shop with a rateable value of £60,000 will be paying nearly £20,000 this year, up from only £8,000 in 2024. It will cost the average pub £5,500 more annually. Pubs are, as we've heard, at the heart of our communities. And Kate Nichols, the Chief Executive of UK Hospitality, has said that when Wales reduced relief to 40%, closures were a third higher than they were in England. And any member who, like me, talks to businesses every week will know how difficult things are out there due to the choice this government has taken to increase costs for our high streets. Under their plans, from next year, there will be higher business rates for properties over £500,000. But this won't only hit online retailers. The British Retail Consortium have raised concerns it will hit 4,000 larger stores in England, many of which are anchor stores on high streets, which help drive the footfall and support nearby businesses. More unintended consequences from this government. As we've heard, high streets and local businesses are indispensable to our economy. Retail alone comprises 5% of GDP, providing 3 million jobs and 2.7 million jobs more in the supply chain. Hospitality, the third largest employer in the UK, with 3.5 million people in the sector, contributing £93 billion annually to the economy. But beyond the economic value, high street businesses form the heart of local communities, providing accessible services and so much more. And I will give way.
I thank the honourable member for giving way, and I'm sure he will join me in congratulating Robin's Nest coffee shop in my constituency of Chichester that just celebrated their first birthday. But in the year that they've been open, they've seen their business rates double. And so they've written to me to say they might not make it to their second birthday. So does he agree with me that business rate reform cannot come soon enough, and it would be a crying shame to lose those high street businesses?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the sort of risk-taking and the job creation that we want to see across all of our constituencies and across the country. And it's that opportunity which this government is crushing through its decisions. And the impact of these changes is already being felt, as that example illustrates. We've been warned that worse is to come. The British Property Federation has found business rates changes could have a £2.3 billion hit to the economy, jeopardising 20,000 jobs. And when faced with higher costs, the alternatives are higher prices or job losses, closures, boarded up shops become inevitable, and young people, and particularly part-time workers, lose out on opportunities as a result. And the local government associations also raised concerns about the financial impact these reforms could have on local councils. They've urged the government to introduce a transitional mechanism to ensure local council services are not put at risk. I'd be grateful if the Minister could respond directly to their concerns. Sadly, these reforms are not standalone. They come on top of the £25 billion jobs tax, the Employment Rights Bill, adding £5 billion a year, and the family farm tax and business tax. Like a game of buckaroo, Labour is loading on cost after cost in businesses, and there will be a reaction. Half of major retailers surveyed by the British Retail Consortium said that Employment Rights Bill will lead to job cuts. How does the Minister expect companies to absorb these much higher costs on top of business rates and higher national insurance? Last month, the Shadow Chancellor, my honourable friend, visited Beales, who were holding, and I quote, a Rachel Reeves closing down sale as it winds down the business after more than 140 years. 140 years. Just one of 200,000 businesses closed under this government. Chair, the future of our high street should be a priority for any government. Policies should be designed to help them thrive, not burden entrepreneurs and job creators. Extraordinarily, the Prime Minister said earlier this week, "I don't think you can tax your way to growth." That is precisely what this government has done with the £25 billion jobs tax. They're choking growth, costing jobs, and hitting businesses our communities rely on. Before the election, the Labour Party promised it would scrap business rates completely. In power, they simply ditched that pledge. Another broken promise. Little wonder the British Independent Retailers Association has said, for all the government's rhetoric about supporting small businesses and revitalising high streets, their actions do precisely the opposite. It's time for the government to start listening to businesses and change course.